Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. This is great to be back here. We actually took a little bit of a break this summer. We're back. And what better place to start than in Italy? And we are with our friends Giovanna and Aalap from kind of all things LGBT travel, Quiiky Travel, QueerVadis, but we'll talk about all that as we go along. And how are you guys?
Fine, thank you. You?
Very good. Really glad to
Fantastic.
be here.
Safe.
Yeah.
I'm glad to, it's wonderful to have you here. And this is my first time meeting Aalap, but with
Yeah.
Giovanna, you and I have gone. Last time I saw you, of course, was when you and your organization and your team were so instrumental in bringing IGLTA to Milan. I
Absolutely.
believe that was about two
Absolutely.
years ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. It was 2022, and we
Yeah,
organized the local activities for IGLTA, for the convention, and also we were definitely extremely a leading party within the organization of the convention itself, and having Milan becoming the location for that event.
yeah.
We were uh, we were really involved into the matter.
No, it was fantastic. It was I know everyone had an amazing time, but it was also I remember it was really that momentum that you guys brought to the table from Europe and all, and so much excitement in Europe for LGBT travel. And then, people that came in from other parts of the world, but it became one of the largest conventions we had ever had with IGLTA. And it was amazing coming off the pandemic to be able to have that achievement.
Yeah, it was. Well, actually, it was a big surprise for us too, because
Yeah.
as you said, we were just coming out of the pandemic, so we didn't expect so many people. But
Yeah.
actually, it was a huge success, and we are still in contact with many of those journalists, of those buyers we met during the convention, and it was a
Yeah.
huge success for us.
Yeah. I love that. And that really tied in at that time with your organization as your sales manager for Quiiky Travel. And
Yeah.
but Quiiky Travel and and kind of that's always been all things LGBT travel in Italy. And but that's been a huge part of your foundation.
Yeah, let's say that actually Quiiky Travel works as a sort of a destination management
Yeah.
for Italy for the LGBTQ plus community,
Yeah.
which means if you decide to travel to Italy, then consider Quiiky Travel because we are in a position to support all aspects of your journey in Italy:
Yeah.
hotels, transportation, restaurants, whatever it is, and also we have special, fantastic walking tours which are really considering the importance of the LGBTQ plus history in Italy.
Yeah.
Let's say that leading our leading idea is let's give Italy a different way of understanding. Let's say we know that everybody knows that Italy is a place of hospitality, a Latin place. Everybody wants to travel to Italy. Okay, that's fine, and we are honored of that. But at the same time, what do we do in order to make everyone really accepted and mainly able to see themselves satisfied with their expectations?
Yeah.
And as you know, Italy is, let's say, the place where culture is its major expression. 60% of UNESCO places are in Italy, for example.
Yeah.
But if you look at UNESCO places, for example, you must have a different way of approaching them if you are talking the LGBTQ plus language.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
give you an example, Matt, just to be clear about what I say. If I think of the Vatican museums, for example, in Rome, um, who can imagine that there is so much of LGBTQ plus culture there?
Hmm.
Nobody would even imagine for many reasons, because of the religion, because of the time we are talking about, of the popes and whatsoever. But actually, if you have a walking tour with us, with our gay guides who are extremely knowledgeable about the interpretation of LGBTQ plus hints and tips within the
Yeah.
St. Peter's, for example, or within the Vatican Museum, it can be really astonishing. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
was astonishing for me. I would never imagine that I can see so many aspects of let's say, diversity, but at the same time, I wouldn't say inclusion, unfortunately, at that time. But thinking of Michelangelo, the powerful effort he did in order to transmit his inner struggles, his inner personality, well, that makes you feel, makes you feel better in order to able to understand that actually things have happened during centuries, but actually people didn't have the opportunity of expressing themselves if not with their own art.
Yeah.
And this is their language, the language we have been informed with, we are now able to understand if we look with LGBTQ plus eyes.
Now I see why you guys have all been so successful. It's the passion that you bring to the table. I loved hearing that. And because that's really allowed you all to, kind of really, there's a lot going on in LGBT travel in Europe, focus, starting in Italy. But now there's an organization you guys are very instrumental in being a part of too, called the ELTA. And tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. In 2022, we have been involved as founders of ELTA, which is the European LGBTQ plus Travel Alliance, which is based in Brussels. And its main mission is trying to bring together different countries in Europe in order to collect best practices in policies concerning diversity, equity, and inclusion for tourism. Yeah. So this means we try to bring together countries, destinations, hotels, tour operators from different parts of Europe. And our main challenge is Eastern Europe. Yeah. We are also involving Eastern Europe because we have this idea that tourism can be a strong, important trailblazer for civil rights. Yeah. So if we are able to talk the same language, even though we come from different places, but we have the same goals and we can share the same ideal point of view or objective, the final objective of the reason why we are now, let's say, sitting at the same table, then we can share a good practices. We can learn a lot from one another. This is the reason why Elta is organizing the State General of European LGBTQ plus tourism every year since 2023. Yeah. First year in Milan, second year in Brussels, second year this year, 2024. Yeah. And actually it was an important success for us. We were not so many, but the contents we had were really unique. Having people coming from Eastern Europe, from Serbia, from Hungary, and talking about the way they are living their realities in their own countries, and at the same time sharing this with those countries which are living in a different way, Western countries which has a different, let's say, approach to let's say, all policies concerning equity and inclusion, that it became a really, let's say, an enjoyable table because, we shared so many information, so many things, and we had great opportunities of networking. It was a great event. Yeah. We are now going out with a new bid for 2025. Okay. And we are making the bid going around Europe in order to have the new location or the new candidate for the States General in 2025. We have a couple of ideas, but I will not disclose them.
Let me, can I add one thing there that's really interesting? I mean, Giovanna, it's so great to because I think for people like me and many people from our community, I'm a person of color and I'm a queer man. And sometimes it's really scary to know where to go and how to navigate when you travel somewhere and you hear stories about places and you don't know both, will my intersectionality be valued and will I feel safe and will I be able to navigate the best of these places? And so I think for a lot of people, including myself, I feel really inspired by what Giovanna does because it creates a space for all of us to enjoy the best of travel and not have those fears, number one. Yeah. And the second thing that I thought, is something that's really important for me and for all of us, which is, like Giovanna said, there's something really amazing about what ELTA and others are doing, which is if you can change laws and policies in these countries, the effects are enormous, right? And we know that there's a clear indicator of more progressive policies and more tourism, of course, right? Stronger GDP growth. We know that private sector tourism companies that are more diverse in their hiring, they're able to really keep and engage a loyal customer base. Yeah. And again, as travelers, even my straight brother and sister-in-law, they only want to go to travel where they know their, gay uncle is going to be safe and okay. And so it really matters in so many levels. And to see the communities in these Eastern European countries prosper because of the work that's happening here is really, really inspiring. Yeah,
I agree. I love hearing that. But then kind of expanding, because that's where what we're going to talk about from this point forward is some of the things you all have done as far as moving outside of that into a bigger aspect. But before we get the biggest, I can't believe it. You guys have, at Quiiky, you have a Palazzo Moresco now, and a friend of mine has just who's on the board with QueerVadis as well. He's a friend of mine that just stayed there recently, and I'm looking forward to doing the same.
Yeah, well, this is our CEO idea, Alessio's idea, and actually his husband and he decided to create this sort of how can I say, sort of nest for the LGBTQ plus community, but not only. It is located in Santa Marinella, which is 40 kilometers north of Rome, very close to Civitavecchia, where a lot of cruises arrive. And actually, Palazzo Moresco is a place where cruisers usually go. And we have a number of guests staying there, even for more than one day or a couple of days. And the place is, what is beautiful, really beautiful in the place is that not only because it's gay on, so it has a special openness towards everyone, every possible guest they may have, but the way they pay attention to detail, they pay attention to every client expectations, and try to, well, actually having a tour operator in the backstage helps a lot, of course. And we are now organizing. We have now organized a package for October 9th for some cruisers belonging to the LGBTQ plus community, staying with us for the whole day. And we organize cooking classes with a gay cook. And we have a tour on the boat with gay skippers and so on. So it's a nice place to visit, but just for everyone. But we have a special eye for the LGBTQ plus community.
I can't wait. No, seriously, I travel enough, and I know I will.
You should, Matt. Next time in Italy, you have to be there.
Exactly. But now for the big one, it's and this is huge because you're seeing this around the world in different places where it's now there's a huge effort going on for LGBTQ plus certification in the world of travel. But you guys are spearheading this from your direction as well with QueerVadis.
Yeah, exactly. I will leave the floor to Aalap about this, but just to give you a couple of tips, which are, I think, extremely interesting. Actually, it was during the pandemic in 2020 that we decided to, well, we were completely, sitting at our table doing nothing. Yeah. So, we decided, we tried to get into the matter of what hotel, what destination, what a tour operator can do in order to communicate the way they do, the best practices they put in place in order to be really inclusive, and specifically with the LGBTQ plus community. Is there anything which can help them? Can we do something for them? Yeah. Even because the experience around, not just around Italy, but around Europe in general, is that actually you visit a place, you visit a destination, you visit a hotel, or you are in touch with a tour operator, but in many cases, they don't even understand which kind of expectation you have.
Yeah.
Right. And many times it's not having a great ideas, but pay attention to details. Pay attention to small things which make the place, which make the destination, which makes the tour operator more and more hospitable. So this is why we decided to work on a certification, which is called the QueerVadis. And actually, there is nothing comparable to this now, neither in Europe nor I think in the USA, because this is a real certification. It's not just a training. It's a certification with a specific audit at the end of a training and specific operations within the company, so that you get to a final result which is witnessed by a third party, which is really objective. Now I shut up and I leave
No. Gosh, I can't even. But like Giovanna said, I mean, what's so interesting and unique about QueerVadis is that it is the first international LGBTQ plus DEI certification, right? And why does that matter, right? Because there's lots of choices we have, but as a tourist and as a traveler, I get to see that logo, see that at businesses, and be able to say, I get to bring my authentic self to these places every day. That I know that I'm going to show up, and these people and the businesses, the hotels, the destinations, the tour, they're going to honor, the way I want to be addressed. They are going to anticipate some of my needs because they're very unique for the LGBT community. And it's important that I'm spending a lot of money and I have my family, excuse me, I have a busy weekend of travel, and I want to be able to have a peace of mind, right? That I get to enjoy it. And then, we're all busy and we all trying to make the best of our experience. And that to me is, it's hard to quantify that peace of mind that, like I said earlier, I get to show up somewhere and know that if the QueerVadis brand is at this tour location or operator, I feel safe, I feel protected. I know anything happens, they've got my back, right? So that's kind of one thing that's really important. And on the other hand, QueerVadis works with the tour operators, the destinations, the hotels, because as we know, they're really overwhelmed. These are small businesses who are trying to do their best in an increasingly challenging time for tourism, right? And what QueerVadis does is a few things. As Giovanna said, through certification, how can these businesses expand their markets, attract a wider, more diverse customer base? Second is really differentiate. We have lots of choices, and with Google and TikTok, there's lots of challenges in getting your brand visible. And to be able to stand out, to say we are a leader in inclusivity, and that we are going to, and that QueerVadis works with these businesses to do a training, and only do a training once. Because if you train and you create sensitivity around LGBT tourists, because of the intersectionality and the expansiveness of our community, you often get to cover lots of different identities and categories. And so you do this training once, and often that's the only training you need to really support and serve a broad spectrum of tourism, right? And the thing I think that's really important is, as we said earlier, there's a social responsibility and compliance here that, we think is important, that environmental, social, and governance standards, knowing the role that we live in to us is important, and that we know there's a backsliding of LGBT rights. We know that there's a challenge in sustainability. And so QueerVadis kind of every step of the way is there to help the tourists like us and the businesses really be able to show up for the future, of tourism.
I love hearing that. And it really does make a difference. It's a different part of the world that I'll bring up, but last year I went to Toronto for Pride, and my husband and I, we did a road trip. So we drove up. So on our way back, we came through a different way and went through a smaller town of Kingston in Canada. And I'll never forget it because, we just stopped there because I always wanted to see it. But there are all these rainbow, it's the program they have with the Canadian LGBT Chamber of Commerce is called Rainbow Registered. And so all throughout town at coffee shops and all sorts of different stores is a Rainbow Registered in the window. And it really makes a huge difference because I never forgot that. It was an immediate feeling that Kingston, like you said, has my back. They're very supportive, and they made that very, very clear. And here this is just a small town in Canada.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I agree. It's amazing.
Applaud the work you all are doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And again, it takes you know, and I think the work you're doing, and, you know, I think it, you know, we need all of us to kind of be in this conversation together because it really matters, right? And like you said, we know at a time when there's a lot of choices, when there's lots of places one can go. I also just know that I would much rather support an LGBT business because they're part of our family, right? I'd much rather support them than another business because I know that they've done the hard work and they've done what they need, you know, what they need to help people like myself and other parts of the community be able to really enjoy their experience.
I love this. I think this is fantastic. And I'm going to make sure that when we post this online, we're going to have, you know, not only will we tag all of it, but also we'll have links to place so folks can be able to click through, discover more. So we'll make sure that hopefully we'll leave no stone unturned when it comes to people being able to discover all the work y'all are doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next LGBT tourism conference we get to together.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
So good.